Good afternoon and welcome to Game 1 of the Toyota National Championships. This is the Jubilee Trophy, the first of 41 games that you'll be seeing this weekend with the Jubilee Trophy and Challenge Trophy National Championships. I'm Colleen McConnell. I'll be keeping you company today along with Gillian Landrigan on camera, and we'll chat through this game. Your first opening game, Ontario versus Newfoundland number 2. Fieldians Greensleeves. The Ontario team, of course, represented by Scarborough United as we're getting started. The starting lineup for Ontario includes Danielle Blair, number 4, number 5, Aaron King, 10, Laura Callender, 12, Jasmine Vilgrain, Jasmine Burke, number 13, number 15, Matthias Coco, 18, Olivia Bisoni, 19, Cassandra Sribney, 20, Chantel Parker, 23, Olivia Razakos, and in net number 89, Nicole Paraskevopoulos. The teams just starting to feel each other out now in the first minute of this game. Representing Fieldian Greensleeves, the number 2 entry from Newfoundland and Labrador, we have in net number 1, Sydney Walsh. She is the all-star goalie from the summer's Jubilee Trophy regular season. Number 2, Jamie King in left back. Brianna Pender, number 5. Number 7, Zoe Rowe. Some early pressure there from Ontario. Ontario is in white. Newfoundland and Labrador 2 Fieldians are in the navy blue. Some good pressure there from the Ontario squad. Nice movement on the ball, but headed away by Newfoundland and Labrador. Jasmine Burke sending it down to Olivia Bisoni. And we've got a kick coming here for Scarborough United. Going to be taken by number 13, Jasmine Burke. Cleared away by Newfoundland and Labrador. And seeing some early effort to move the ball down by Zoe Rowe. Gone off Newfoundland player, and that'll be a goal kick. Continuing with the rest of the Newfoundland and Labrador lineup, we've got number 7, Zoe Rowe, number 8, Beth Hines, number 9, Morgan Fitzgerald, 13, Sarah Woodford, 15, Chantel Armstrong, number 21, their captain, Stacey Hanlon, 23, Michaela Pearl, and number 24, Cameron Bonia. Interestingly, Bonia and Zoe Rowe are both under 18 players. Zoe would be the youngest one on the team out there on the field today. Both she and Cameron still in high school. For those just joining in, this is the Ontario Scarborough United team in white. Newfoundland number 2 entry, Fieldians Greensleeves in the navy blue and blue. Fieldians attempting to set things up and move things forward. And a shot from Zoe Rowe easily wide and high of the net. It's a beautiful day here in St. John's. We're playing on King George V pitch. This is one of the main fields that we'll be using this weekend. We're also going to be bringing you games from Topsail Field out in Conception Bay South. There'll also be games played in Mount Pearl Middlefield, and at the Rainbow Gully Field out in Portugal Cove, St. Philip. So 4 organizations, 4 municipalities teaming up to support the Jubilee and Challenge Trophy National Tournament this weekend. Brianna Pender trying to reset there. And it's ball gone back to Ontario, who are now ball taken back by a Fieldians player. And Cameron Bonia is off down the wing. Bonia also well known in track and field circles locally. We've got a Fieldians throw in. Trying to find Zoe Rowe. And Ontario regains possession. So they're going to reset, use the other side of the field. Good defending by Chantal Armstrong, who attempts to move the ball forward. Michaela Pearl picks it up and goes for a shot on net. It's a little bit breezy, and Team Newfoundland and Labrador 2 have the wind at their back right now, so obviously hoping to play the advantage while they have it. Temperature is about 12 or 13 degrees, a lovely sunny day. Quite comfortable for the players out there. Ball played back to the goalie, Parasavopoulos. And Ontario moves it forward with Laura Callender. Some good pressure there from Chantal Parker, and Sydney Walsh clears it away for Newfoundland and Labrador. It'll be a throw in deep in the field for Ontario. Nice high ball put in there by Danielle Blair, hoping some of her colleagues might be there to try and make something of it, but not the case. Sydney Walsh clearing it out now. Goal kick down to the Ontario defense. Ontario regroups. Olivia Rizakos now puts the ball in play. Cleared away by Fieldians. So Ontario planning now that far wing, moving it up again. Chantal Armstrong putting on the pressure on Olivia Bissoni. Ontario now quietly resetting. Laura Callender back to the defender. Over to Jasmine Burke. Erin King getting ready to set things up. We've got a foul kick going in Ontario's favor. Few good chances from Ontario very early on in the match here. Newfoundland and Labrador have had a couple of shots towards the Ontario goal, one on net, but easily handled by their keeper, Paris Gavopoulos. 10 minutes and 16 seconds into the first half of this game, still scoreless. You're watching Ontario, Scarborough United in the white, versus Fieldians, Newfoundland and Labrador number 2 in the navy and blue. Fieldians regroup now, passing it back to keeper Sydney Walsh. Walsh chips it to Michaela Pearl. And then to Stacey Hanlon. Hanlon trying to make a run on the Ontario defenders. Will she get there? No, Ontario is there first. Pressuring the Ontario goalie. Ball's gone out of play, and it will be put back in by the Fieldians. Jamie King has gone over to take that throw in. Michaela Pearl with the ball, taking a shot on her own, wide of the net. Nicole Paraskevopoulos will put the ball back into play. So here we come again with Ontario, setting things up, coming through the middle this time, now moving out to the far wing. Intercepted by Jamie King. Yeah, ball just outside the line there by Ontario and played back in quickly, trying to find Stacey Hanlon again there for the Fieldians, but Ontario on top of her. I think they've obviously been paying attention to the scouting report on the Newfoundland and Labrador girls. They know who the top scorers for this team have been, and that would certainly be Stacey Hanlon. She was number 2 overall in the Jubilee Trophy during the regular season this summer in the province. Zoe Rowe puts the ball through, not quite accessible by Bethany Hines, and it's gathered up by the Ontario goalkeeper. Ontario now playing it back out. Nice pass to the middle. Nice defending by the Fieldians against Ontario's number 19, Cassandra Sribney. I chatted with her a little bit before the game, just trying to check all the pronunciation. She says it sounds just like it's spelled. So Cassandra Sribney making a couple of attempts there. The ball's going to be put back in now by Danielle Blair. And it's out. That'll be a corner for Ontario. Coming in to take that, looks like it's going to be Jasmine Burke, one of their left back on the team, one of their defenders. Ball well placed, well defended by Fieldians. Ontario running now to pick it back up and try and regroup. And they have. Nice ball movement by the Ontario squad. Good defense again by Fieldians, but it's gone up the middle. Shot attempt and just wide of the net. Newfoundland and Labrador goalkeeper Sydney Walsh will gather that up and put that back into play now. We are 15 minutes into the first half of this game, the first of 41 games that you're going to have here at King George V and other fields around the Metro St. John's area. The region is hosting both the senior men's and senior women's championships this weekend. So we'll have 8 teams on the women's side, so 2 divisions of 4. We have 10 teams on the men's side for the Challenge Trophy, 2 divisions of 5. Coming up later on today, here at King George V, we will have Newfoundland and Labrador 1, the provincial champions, Holy Cross Women's, Avalon Ford, playing against Alberta, the other team in this division. And that will be followed at 6 o'clock local time by the Men's Challenge Cup opener. That'll be Newfoundland's champions, Holy Cross Men, Kirby Group, playing against Alberta as well. Interestingly, the Alberta team that the boys will face later on today won the tournament the last time St. John's hosted. That was Edmonton Scottish. They were actually an additional team entry when someone else pulled out past deadline. In 2016, Newfoundland and Labrador already had 2 entries, so Edmonton Scottish got an extra bye. Ontario corner kick. Again, very well placed. Bit of a scramble in front, but put slightly wide of the net. Sydney Walsh, the Newfoundland and Labrador goalkeeper, gathering that up and going to send that out with a goal kick. That corner taken again by Jasmine Burke of Ontario. 2 very well-placed corners from her so far in this game. So Ontario still keeping the pressure up in the Newfoundland end. Regrouping now. Number 5, Aaron King, back up to Jasmine Burke. Burke is listed as a defender, but clearly not afraid to play up as and when the occasion calls for it. Good pressure there by number 15, Chantal Armstrong, and number 18, Olivia Bissoni from Ontario. Armstrong puts it through, looking for Zoe Rowe, but the wind was not cooperating on that one. Newfoundland still has a throw-in. Further down, and just out of the broadcast booth sight. Deep into Ontario territory now. Ball gone to Stacey Hanlon, the team captain, and it is out. It'll be a goal kick for Nicole Paraskevopoulos. Goalie trying to pick her preferred spot, playing a short, and back to the goal. Ontario looking to reset here, but getting a bit of pressure from Zoe Rowe, number 7 on Fieldian's Newfoundland and Labrador 2 team. This is, of course, the National Club Championships, essentially the highest you can go as an amateur athlete in the soccer world in this country. So these are our senior men's and women's teams that you'll be watching over the next several days here from the field at King George and again out in Topsail Field in CBS, where we will also be broadcasting with Sports Canada TV. Ontario putting some more pressure on. Newfoundland player fouled, and Sydney Walsh will take the foul kick to put that ball back out of danger. 20 minutes in and no score as yet. If you're just joining us, the team in the white is Ontario's Scarborough United, Newfoundland's Fieldians Greensleeves in the navy and blue. And some pressure there by the Fieldians team. They will have their first corner of the game. And Jamie King looks like she's going in to take that corner. We're expecting great fan support here this weekend. You can probably hear a little bit some of the fans, friends and family gathered around. Well-placed ball tipped away by Paraskevopoulos, and Ontario trying to play it out. Newfoundland has the ball again. It's going to be a throw-in, and Chantal Armstrong down to put the ball back in play. Pass intercepted by Ontario, who are now trying to break free. Ball intercepted again by the Newfoundland defender, Brianna Pender, from the Ghouls part of St. John's. Pender, one of the many Fieldians players that also plays for Memorial University. There's quite literally a baker's dozen of them. There's 13. And the other Newfoundland and Labrador team also has a healthy representation from the university squad. Ontario playing it back, not quite sure what the call was there. But reset. Ontario's goalie urging her players to push up the field a little bit further. So Bethany Hines making a move. Got Cameron Bonia putting some pressure on there against Danielle Blair. Ontario chipping the ball up the field again. Intercepted by the Fieldians defense. Zoe Rowe manages to come up with it. And Morgan Fitzgerald puts it through for Cameron Bonia. Over on the side, looking for an option. And Ontario takes possession back on a shallow pass. Brianna Pender again with the ball. And now back to Ontario. Number 20, Chantal Parker, fouled as she was trying to get through the Newfoundland and Labrador defense. It'll be a foul kick from a place that Ontario could cause some damage on. It'll depend on how they're setting up. It'll be taken by number 13, Jasmine Burke, who we've seen take a number of their corners already. So clearly an integral player for this team as they get ready for their set pieces. Ball is up at the top of the 18, headed by one of the Ontario players who appears to have made some contact either with her nose or her mouth there. She's number 20, Chantal Parker, checking to see if she's got a bloody nose out of that one. Seems to be okay. Some nice footwork there by Olivia Bissoni. Passes over to the middle. Ontario moving it to the other side again. Back to Jasmine Burke. Over to Laura Callender, who passes it off to number 18. Oh, so a little bit too close contact there from Bethany Hines, attempting to take that ball away from Ontario. We'll have another foul kick out, and this time it will be taken by a different Ontario player who will pass it over to their old favorite, Jasmine Burke, who puts it in play, defended by Fieldians. Burke trying to get there, but the ball rolls out of play. Fieldians with a throw-in. Chantal Armstrong over to Michaela Pearl. Armstrong again, tangling with a couple of the Ontario players there, trying to come up with the ball. Ontario retains possession. Number 20, Chantal Parker, goes down on that play from Chantal Armstrong. Chantal Armstrong getting a little bit of a talking to by the referee. Laura Callender brings the ball back up through the center. Think she was looking for Jasmine Villegrin, but no such luck on that play. Intercepted by Fieldians, now out of play, and we'll have an Ontario throw-in. So Danielle Blair ready to throw that back into play there. Bethany Hines trying to put it down the field, intercepted by Ontario. Now back, Jamie King has it. Over to Chantal Armstrong for Fieldians, who puts it back to Brianna Pender. Pender setting things back up. Over to Jamie King and preparing to move it back down into the Ontario part of the field. That goes off Danielle Blair, and it'll be a Fieldians throw-in down in the Ontario half. Cameron Bonia trying to get a hold of that, but it goes out off Fieldians. We'll have a goal kick from Nicole Paraskevopoulos. Neither goalie has really been tested too harshly just yet. Got Ontario, Laura Callender playing a game of keep away there with a couple of Fieldians players. It's gone back up to Chantal Parker. And off Stacey Hanlon from the Fieldians. It'll be an Ontario throw-in. Zoe Rowe comes up with the ball from the Fieldians, trying to put it into play and intercepted by the Ontario defense. Chantal Parker again puts the ball through, intercepted by Brianna Pender of the Fieldians defense, and it's a bit of a back and forth between the two teams here now, neither one of them retaining possession for any significant period of time. Ball goes off Jamie King, and it'll be an Ontario throw-in in the Newfoundland and Labrador half. We're coming up on 30 minutes into the first half of the game. Still locked at 0. Ontario Scarborough United in white, and the Fieldians Greensleeves team from Newfoundland and Labrador in the navy and blue. Ontario resetting. Here we go. Olivia Bissoni tried to get sprung there, but pulled down or taken, or the ball was taken away at least by Jamie King. More Ontario efforts now setting up. Again, Olivia Bissoni over to Danielle Blair. Again, those Ontario defenders not afraid to move up and set things in motion. Ontario attempts to put the ball across to the middle. A weak pass, which was easily intercepted and cleared out by Woodford. So Sarah Woodford, number 13 on Newfoundland and Labrador, originally from CBS. Another one of the many Munn players in the lineup here for the Fieldians. And Munn, by the way, for our colleagues not from Newfoundland and Labrador, is Memorial University, the main university here. Nice attempt by a header from Ontario, wide of the goal and cleared out by the Newfoundland and Labrador defense. It will go out of play and will be put back in by Jasmine Burke for Ontario. Bethany Hines. Ontario resetting. Back over to Jasmine Burke. Nice give and go. Back to Maciuskoko, who sends it back to the middle to reset with Jasmine Vilgran. Jamie King comes up with the ball for Fieldians, advancing down the wing there over to Zoe Rowe. A little too much on that for Zoe Rowe to handle, and the defense puts it back to the Ontario goalie, who will set it back in play, passing it out to Aaron King in the center defense role. You're watching the first game of the Toyota National Championships, the Jubilee Trophy from King George V Field in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. The game, Ontario, Scarborough United in the white, playing Fieldians Greensleeves, Newfoundland's number 2 entry in the blue. Ontario trying to move the ball forward. Some nice ball movement, but intercepted by Jamie King. Another tussle in the middle there. A couple of players down, but the ball still in Ontario possession. Putting some good pressure on now. Good defending by Cameron Bonia. Newfoundland getting that ball out, but back to Ontario. Just high of the Newfoundland and Labrador goal. Some very good pressure from Ontario as we hit the almost 34-minute mark of this game. Still no score. Ontario Scarborough United versus Fieldians Greensleeves. You're watching the Jubilee Trophy portion of the Toyota National Championships on Sports Canada TV. I'm Colleen McConnell. Gillian Landrigan joins me on camera, and myself and others will be here supporting the broadcast through the week. Hope you're able to catch as many games online. If you're not able to be here in person, we'll be here, and we look forward to chatting with you through the week and the weekend. Newfoundland and Ontario passing the ball back and forth there. Ontario trying to regroup now and move back up through the middle, putting some good pressure on Newfoundland and Labrador half in this. Whoa, very close. Great stop there. Almost the first goal of the game. Ontario with some great efforts, a good pass through the middle, tipped away, and Ontario player unable to get the rebound. Great effort at 35 minutes into the first half. So Ontario resetting again with Jasmine Burke. Olivia Bissoni moving the ball up the field, trying to play it long, looking for Laura Callender in front of the 18. Ontario puts it through and it's wide. Newfoundland goalkeeper Sydney Walsh puts it into position to take a goal kick. Walsh passes it out. Brianna Pender to start moving that back up, and to Stacey Hanlon. Oh, Hanlon looking for the pass, but Chantel Armstrong had already moved down the field. Ontario with the ball now. Jasmine Vilgrain over to Danielle Blair. Blair back to Vilgrain. Over to Laura Callender in that center mid position. Ontario's pretty much stripped its defense out of their half of the field. Getting back now quickly. Zoe Rowe. Ontario goalie comes outside to clear that. Every game in this tournament is going to be critical because at the end of the round robin, the first place team will play off for gold against the first place team from Division B. Second place will play bronze, third will play third, fourth will play fourth. So there are no easy games, and there are no games that are unimportant in any way. Every game is super important. Zoe Rowe trying to get down. Not a lot of people back to support her on that, but a good effort. Ontario gets the ball, resets, taking their time, coming up the field and getting ready. We're now at the 39-minute mark in the first half. Ontario Chantel Parker tossling with Chantel Armstrong again, trying to move that ball up. It's a Fieldians throw in. She puts it back to Captain Stacey Hanlon. Fieldians is the youngest team in the tournament overall. The average age is just about 20 years old. Ontario would be a close second, if not second. I think their average age is around 22. So lots of youth, and even though Fieldians have a young team, many of the members have a lot of experience at the at youth nationals and some at senior nationals. Ontario with another attempt into the side of the net. That's going to be an Ontario corner. taken as usual by Jasmine Burke, number 13. Can see someone warming up there on the Ontario side of the field. We're 40 minutes in to the first half. Another well-placed ball by Jasmine Burke. Cleared away by Newfoundland, but scooped up again by Ontario, who are resetting. Danielle Blair putting it through to number 15. Back to Blair. Well defended by Newfoundland and Labrador, who knock it off another one of their own players. Not quite fully cleared yet, but it is going to go out off an Ontario player, and Fieldians will take possession back and will have the throw in. This last 15 or 20 minutes has really been Ontario dominating, not able to penetrate. But with the balance of play, Fieldians continuing to defend well, but having to work a little bit harder every time. High ball off to goalkeeper Sydney Walsh, who gathers it up easily and will put it back in play. Zoe Rowe, Stacey Hanlon trying to get the ball there. It's been put back in by Sarah Woodford. Jamie King clearing it off to the side. It'll be an Ontario throw-in. About midway through, up in the Newfoundland and Labrador half. We're now at 42 minutes in the first half. Not a whole lot of stoppages, so I wouldn't expect very much added time in this first half of the game. Ball is out off Ontario, and Fieldians. Jamie King puts it in. It's going to try and put it down the field, but it's going to go wide, and Ontario will have the throw. Jasmine Burke coming down to take that. Ball in, attempted flick on by Ontario, but gathered up by Newfoundland and Labrador. Chantal Armstrong now, trying to move the ball down the field. Bit of a tangle of limbs there, and Ontario comes up with it. They're regrouping. Over to Jasmine Burke on that far wing. And to Chantal Parker. Ball goes out off Parker, and it's going to be a Fieldians throw. Laura Callender. Back to Aaron King. She's moving it over to Jasmine Vilgrain, who will move it up the field and try and connect with her colleagues up in the forward. Newfoundland and Labrador comes up with the ball. And Ontario now. Ontario's number 15, Mattia Skoko, comes through the middle and scoops up the ball has a shot on net, but it's easily gathered up by Newfoundland's Sydney Walsh. We are now at 45 minutes. I don't expect a whole lot of added time here. There has been very little delay or stoppage of any kind. Both teams working hard. Ball is high and picked up by the Ontario goalkeeper, Nicole Paraskevopoulos. Burke making a run. Over to 19. Back to 15. Who takes a shot on goal, and it's high and wide. That will wrap up this half. Just waiting for the referee to give the final whistle to say that our first 45 minutes has concluded. She doesn't. And there she is. 45 minutes into the first game of this Jubilee Trophy Toyota National Championships game. We have a scoreless draw. Newfoundland and Labrador's Fieldians Greensleeves versus Ontario Scarborough United. I'm Colleen McConnell with Gillian Landrigan on camera. Thank you for being here. We're going to sign off for a couple of minutes, have a refreshment break, and we will be back with you shortly. Good afternoon, everyone. We're back for the second half of action at the Toyota National Championships Jubilee Trophy, Ontario, Scarborough United versus Fieldians, Newfoundland and Labrador number 2. Those two teams knotted at 0 after 45 minutes of play. Seeing some good pressure from Ontario late in the first half. Fieldians' defence continuing to hold them off, and Fieldians will start this first half out with possession. So a couple of changes to tell you about at the half. Morgan Fitzgerald, who started for Fieldians Newfoundland and Labrador 2, she has come out of the game, and Caroline Malling has come into the game. Caroline is the oldest Fieldians player. She's actually originally from Quebec, but living here in the province, going to med school at Memorial University. On the Ontario side, Chantel Parker has come out of the game. She's been replaced by Shanine Janudine. And number 15, Maciaskoko, has been subbed out for Lena Barry, who has come in to the game for Ontario. Barry is number 11. Jamie King to Michaela Pearl. Pearl's tip not quite working out. Laura Callender gathers it up and tries to put it back into play. Cassandra Sribney now. Down to Shanine Janudine, who's just come in for Ontario. Playing conditions still quite nice here in Newfoundland and Labrador, probably 13 or 14 degrees. Still a little bit breezy, but quite comfortable for the players. Maybe about 40 or 50 people in the stands, a lot of family and friends. This is, of course, the middle of the afternoon in St. John's, Newfoundland, where the game is being played. So another attempt by Ontario wide of the net. Newfoundland goalie Sydney Walsh will place that down and pass it off to the defender to get things started again. Newfoundland playing a little game of keep away there, but still deep in their own end. Brianna Pender to Jamie King. It's off Ontario there, and Fieldians will have a throw-in. Zoe Rowe, the young Newfoundland and Labrador forward, continuing to try and push the pace up top. She is going to need more support than she got in the first half. They had some good attempts, but looked like the Fieldians' legs were getting a little tired towards the end. Still playing very good defense. Nice attempt to chip that on by Ontario. Brianna Pender passes it back to Sydney Walsh in goal. Walsh regrouping. And the Newfoundland defense bringing the ball up. Passed off to Michaela Pearl. Over to number 14, Caroline Malling. Zoe Rowe puts it through. Stacey Hanlon, the top goal scorer for Fieldians in the Jubilee Trophy regular season, trying to make a break there. doesn't quite make it in, but it will be a Newfoundland and Labrador throw-in deep in Ontario territory. Ball is passed out to Bethany Hines, who puts it in once again for Zoe Rowe. Newfoundland with its first corner kick of the second half. And that will be taken by Jamie King. Gathered in by the Ontario goalie Paris Gavopoulos. Zoe Rowe comes back up with it again, trying to move that forward to Michaela Pearl. Danielle Blair for Ontario. Ontario using the sides of the field to good advantage. Number 10, Callender. Back to Aaron King, who sends it forward. Chantel Armstrong moving the ball up the sides for Newfoundland, and Labrador puts it through for Zoe Rowe. Offside call. But that could have set up a one-on-one with the Ontario goalie, who had come well outside the 18-yard box to challenge Zoe Rowe. Ontario now with possession again, resetting, working it up the right side of the field. Throw in. Ontario putting a lot of pressure on down in the Newfoundland end. Not yet able to make anything happen there. Caroline Malling puts the ball through again to Zoe Rowe. Zoe Rowe making sure she's onside this time. Trying to put it through for Stacey Hanlon, but that pass just not there. Ontario passed out from the goalie to Danielle Blair. Pops it into play to Jen Newton, who just came into the game at the half. Back to Newfoundland and Labrador, and again, tic-tac-toe back to Ontario. They've been passing possession back and forth fairly frequently. Neither side spending a lot of time with the ball, but Ontario now resetting and trying to make something happen up front. Nice ball attempt through. Sydney Walsh comes out to pull that down. Good attempt to reach Mattia Skoko from Ontario. Skoko had a couple of good attempts in the first half of the game. Ball popped through for the Newfoundland forwards, but too much on it, and it's easily contained by the Ontario goalie. Newfoundland's player having a hard time controlling that ball, and Ontario takes possession again. Resetting again, coming down to use that right side of the field. Ontario's number 23 pushing off Jamie King. Good support. And Ontario fails to get a good piece of that ball, and it's easily scooped up by Sydney Walsh of Newfoundland and Labrador. And I'm just waiting for the player to turn around so I can get her number. That was number 19 on Ontario, Cassandra Sribney. Lovely pass, but failed to make a solid contact and easily gathered up by Sydney Walsh of Newfoundland and Labrador. So we've got a quick foul kick here. The Newfoundland goalie's going to take that. Passes it off to one of the defenders. Brianna Pender bringing it up to Jamie King. King to the middle and Michaela Pearl. Pearl trying to set that up and get Mackenzie Hiscock sprung. That ball is now out and we are moving. Ontario's got the throw in. Cassandra Sribney trying to pass it through, intercepted by Newfoundland and Labrador, who are resetting and moving up. Bethany Hines with the ball off to Chantel Armstrong, who's trying to get there, and she does. Bit of pressure from Ontario, and Armstrong goes down in a heap. It'll be a foul kick. Armstrong looks like she's going to take it. The other Newfoundland and Labrador forwards and midfielders are pushing up a little bit, getting ready to receive. The Ontario goalie gathers that up off a bounce, out to Danielle Blair, who seems to have moved to center mid from the wing in the second half. Number 17, Samantha Lenehan, has come in for Ontario on the wing. Zoe Rowe putting some pressure on, but it's cleared away by Ontario's goalie. Ontario now trying to reset again. Still getting pressured. Stacey Hanlon putting some pressure up top, but it's cleared back. Samantha Lenehan. Ball is bouncing in the air. Players trying to get control of it. We've got a Newfoundland and Labrador throw in coming. Yeah, and that's ruled out. Lenehan with the throw in for Ontario. And Newfoundland puts it out. Olivia Rosacco is putting some pressure on there in that last play. Still Ontario, still seeing some pressure here. Newfoundland and Labrador trying to move the ball out. Bethany Hines getting a little bit aggressive there from the Ontario player. Foul kick in the Fieldians' favor. That's going to be taken by Jamie King. For those of you just joining us, you're watching the Toyota National Championships Jubilee Trophy, Game 1 of the Jubilee Trophy. Ontario Scarborough United in the white and Fieldians green sleeves from Newfoundland and Labrador in the navy and lighter blue color. No score with close to 60 minutes gone in this game so far. Both teams spent a little time feeling each other out in the first half, but we've seen good pressure from Ontario late in the first half and again early in this. Few good attempts by Newfoundland and Labrador to get up and break through the Ontario defense. We've seen a couple of set pieces from both sides, but the defense and the goalkeeping so far have been keeping things out. Ontario now with possession. Ontario ranked number 1 coming into this tournament. Fieldian Greensleeves are ranked number 8 by virtue of being the second host entry. There are 8 teams overall in the tournament. The other Newfoundland and Labrador team, the provincial champions Holy Cross Avalon Ford, are ranked number 4. They came in 4th last year out in Saskatoon. And rounding out this division, round 1, is Alberta. In the other division, we have British Columbia, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Nova Scotia. And the Nova Scotia team, interestingly, has a few Newfoundland connections with 3 people who used to play, either are from here or lived here for an extended period, playing in their lineup. So they may see a little bit of a hometown boost for Nova Scotia, at least until crossovers. Ontario now still with the ball. Throw in up close to the halfway mark. Ball headed ahead by Januden, who joined the game at the half. Newfoundland goalkeeper now, Sydney Walsh, gathers up that loose ball and puts it back in play. Out to Brianna Pender on defense. Sends it back to play a little bit of keep away. Bethany Hines bringing the ball up the middle to Caroline Malling. Malling struggling a little bit with the Ontario player. Number 23, Olivia Rizakos. Rizakos called for a foul on that play. And Jamie King will take the kick. You'll notice the officials had a little bit of a wardrobe change at halftime. Not quite sure what happened there, but probably their black and black was considered a little too close to the navy of Fieldians. Anyway, they've swapped out now to more of a fuchsia. Newfoundland and Labrador now comes up with the ball. Chantal Armstrong, part of the all-star team in the Newfoundland and Labrador Breens Jubilee Trophy this summer. She's been a key and very active player in this game today. Brianna Pender sends it through. Over to Bethany Hines, trying to find Zoe Rowe. Mackenzie Hiscock now with the ball for Newfoundland and Labrador, trying to find an opening, trying to put it through. Ball is gathered up by Nicole Paraskevopoulos, the Ontario goalie, who sends it back to Danielle Blair. Blair puts it through, but Jamie King is there. Heads it back into play for Newfoundland and Labrador, and Caroline Malling scoots it through. Mackenzie Hiscock trying to get there. Malling again with the ball. Through to the middle, and Beth Hines. Off an Ontario defender, and Chantal Armstrong again, trying to get in with the ball and bring it forward. It's taken away, and Ontario is on the run. Lots of good effort by the Ontario players getting back to be ready to receive that ball. Brianna Pender keeping it out in defense. Pender also on the all-star team, and the ball is high at the Newfoundland and Labrador net. Goalkeeper Sydney Walsh will take it out with a goal kick. Walsh, also notably the all-star goalie for the local Breen's Jubilee Trophy regular season, and back in her days as a youth player was the named to the all-star team at the Canadian Championships as an under 18. Walsh setting things up with her defenders. Sarah Woodford bringing it forward. Mackenzie Hiscock. Laura Callender being aggressive in the midfield, moving that ball around. Mackenzie Hiscock comes up with it again for Newfoundland and Labrador, and over to Jamie King, who tries to put it through for Caroline Malling. Mackenzie Hiscock loses her balance there. And the Newfoundland defense is rushing back. Brianna Pender. Very close call for Newfoundland and Labrador. The ball pinging around the front of the net there, but goes just wide on a shot by Ontario's number 18, Olivia Bisoni. Newfoundland defense setting up again, coming through the middle, over to the side. Brianna Pender. Pender back to the goalie, Sydney Walsh. Back to Bethany Hines, who's going to move it up the other side of the field. Chantal Armstrong fighting to get that ball back, and it's out. It's going to be off Newfoundland and Labrador and into Ontario with a throw-in. Over to Mackenzie Hiscock. Up to Caroline Malling. That is Newfoundland's Erin McKinnon with the throw-in. Out off Ontario, and McKinnon again. Another throw-in to Caroline Malling. Ontario gets the ball away, retains possession. Olivia Rizakos working her way into the Newfoundland defense, fanned away by Brianna Pender, but not fully cleared. And Bethany Hines makes no doubt about getting that out of danger. Ontario again regrouping. Working back the sides of the field, over to the center now. Danielle Blair. We've seen a number of times in this game that Ontario is not afraid to move their defense up and pressure the other team. And they've stripped pretty much everybody out of that their own half at the moment. Sydney Hines with a goal kick for Newfoundland and Labrador. She's been playing a lot of short kicks on the ground in this half. Just having a chat with one of the Fieldians players there who's gone to get attention of some kind. Not completely sure what the problem was, if that's a nosebleed or something going on. Fieldians a person short, while Caroline Malling gets attention on the sidelines there. Looks like it might have been a cut to her leg, maybe. And she's back in. Ontario now taking their time down in their own end. Planning their next move up front. It comes here. Handed off to Megan Mackay. Over to Laura Callender in midfield. And Danielle Blair, the defender who likes to play up. Newfoundland and Labrador trying to exploit Ontario's tendency to play their defenders forward. We've got some kind of discussion going on now. Mackenzie Hiscock getting cautioned. Laura Callender getting a talking to from the referee. Ontario with a foul kick, which will be taken by Danielle Blair. As the game has gone on, we're seeing a few more fans show up. Beautiful day for a game of ball. Looks like we've got some really good weather coming up for the first 3 or 4 days of the tournament for sure. And it's a lovely showcase for the beautiful game. Still a little breezy here at King George V Park in St. John's. Ontario throw incoming. That ball going off Stacey Hanlon, the Fieldians captain. Ontario trying to set up another effort. Headed away by Brianna Pender in front of the net and cleared by Erin McKinnon. Ontario with it again, trying to regroup, and Sydney Walsh out to gather that in off the rebound. High ball from Walsh over to Chantel Armstrong, who is taken down by an Ontario player. Some of the fans not very happy with that. It's going to be a foul kick for Newfoundland and Labrador. Ball played back to Pender in center defense. Over to Aaron McKinnon. Ball to Pender. Pender puts it through to Mackenzie Hiscock. Hiscock moving it forward, but nobody there to receive. Zoe Rowe waiting to pounce up there on the top all the time. Ontario now with a throw in. Samantha Lenehan. Bethany Hines trying to keep control of the ball, sends it over to the wing. Chantal Armstrong again making her move up the side of the field. Michaela Pearl puts it through. Zoe Rowe is off. Well defended by Danielle Blair. The ball goes just wide of the Ontario net. Goalie Nicole Paraskevopoulos with a goal kick. Paraskevopoulos urging her players to get forward. We are 76 minutes into this opening game of the Toyota National Championships Jubilee Trophy in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. Caroline Malling tries to cut through the middle, pick up that loose ball. It is on target but gathered up by the Ontario goalie, Paraskevopoulos. Michaela Pearl now with the ball for Newfoundland and Labrador. Over to Caroline Malling, back to Pearl. Puts it through for Mackenzie Hiscock. Newfoundland relying on the long ball and Ontario's habit of playing their defense up high. Laura Callender puts it through, finds Megan Mackay. Looks like we're going to have a corner for Ontario. They had a number in the first half. This is their first in the second half. And that will be taken by their usual kicker, Jasmine Burke, number 13. All of her corners have been very well placed. This one is no different. And Newfoundland's Sydney Walsh tips it over the goalpost. We will have another Ontario corner. Bit of a mix in front of the field. Newfoundland. Bethany Hines comes up with it and pulls it clear. Over to Mackenzie Hiscock, putting it back through to Bethany Hines. Hines putting it through to Zoe Rowe. Rowe too far out to make much of that. She is on target, but it's easily handled by the Ontario goalie. Puts it deep back. Whoa, cross the half. Unfortunate contact from Sarah Woodford there. Foul called on that play. And Ontario has a foul kick, free kick. Danielle Blair to take that. Chantal Armstrong watches that roll out of play for Newfoundland and Labrador, and it's a Fieldians throw-in. Taken quickly. Passed off to Stacey Hanlon. Goes too far, and Danielle Blair puts it back into play for Ontario. Ontario now on the attack. Ball through. Sydney Rowe catches the ball and falls back into the net, tries to clear it, but it is called a goal, and Ontario are on the scoreboard at 80 minutes. And I'm not quite sure who the goal was from, but it may have been Jasmine Burke, number 13. We've got a substitute coming into the game now for the Fieldians. Zoe Rowe is coming out. Number 24, Cameron Bonia is coming back in. Ontario leads Fieldians, Greensleeves, Newfoundland and Labrador's number 2 entry, 1-0 at 80 minutes. That is a play that Sydney Walsh is going to want back. Newfoundland and Labrador have been playing very well defensively through this game. They've now got 10 minutes to tie it up. If you're just joining us, you're watching the first game of the Jubilee Trophy Toyota National Championships on Sports Canada TV. Ontario, Scarborough United are in the white. Fieldians, Greensleeves, Newfoundland and Labrador number 2 in the blue. Ontario has just scored. The game is sitting at 1-0 with 82 minutes gone. Newfoundland and Labrador now putting on the pressure. Ontario tries to clear it out, but it's blocked by Newfoundland and Labrador. It will be an Ontario throw. Ontario subbing out Shannon Janudin, and coming into the game for Ontario, who are wearing white, is number 15, Matya Skoko, who started the game and subbed out at the half. Got another substitution coming in for the Fieldians. Coming in is number 11, Erin McKinnon, coming out of the game rather. And coming into the game is number 2, Jamie King. King and McKinnon, of course, playing on left defense. Jamie King trying to put the ball through for Stacey Hanlon. Hanlon, the top point getter, and chips it in. Beautiful goal by Stacey Hanlon. The Fieldians captain made no doubt about it and beat the Ontario goalie. The game is tied at 84 minutes. Great effort by the Fieldians Greensleeves team from Newfoundland and Labrador. They tied this up just a couple of minutes after being scored on themselves. This game went 80 minutes without a goal. We've now had 2 in the last 4. Stacey Hanlon scoring for Newfoundland and Labrador. Now Ontario on the attack once again. Laura Callender setting things up in the midfield. The ball taken away by Newfoundland and Labrador. Caroline Malling trying to pass it back to Cameron Bonia. Bit of a tangle. And Ontario has possession again. Dispossessed by Chantal Armstrong of Newfoundland and Labrador, sending it back to Stacey Hanlon. Hanlon with a bit of extra spring in her step, having just scored that first goal, which I'm going to say is her first goal at Nationals. Ontario taking a shot on net, hoping the wind might help them out a little bit, but it's easily handled by Newfoundland and Labrador goalie Sydney Walsh. 85 minutes gone in the game. We are tied 1-1. Fieldians Greensleeves of Newfoundland and Labrador and Scarborough United of Ontario. Fieldians in the blue and light blue, Ontario in the white. Bethany Hines looking for Cameron Bonia. Dispossessed. Laura Callender puts the ball through for Ontario, but Jamie King heads it away. Michaela Pearl now trying to set something up. Newfoundland and Labrador still playing that long ball, trying to get their fast forwards breaking through the Ontario defense. Ontario, as we talked about earlier, playing a very aggressive game. They like to play their defenders up forward, and Newfoundland and Labrador trying to find a way to exploit that once again. Caroline Malling puts it through for Stacey Hanlon. Nobody with her, and it is taken down by the Ontario defense. Danielle Blair plays it back to the goalie. And out it comes. Blair still with it. Being dogged by Mackenzie Hiscock. Hiscock, the number 3 goal scorer for Fieldians during the regular season. Jamie King with a good challenge on defense. Ontario setting it up again with Machiskoko. Brianna Pender knocks it away to Cameron Bonia. Ball is chipped by an Ontario player, and it will be a Fieldians throw in. Chantal Armstrong to take that at 87 minutes. Looks like we'll have another Ontario substitute coming in. Every game so important in this tournament. We have 2 divisions of 4 in the women's. The top team in each division will play off for gold. Second will play for bronze. Third will play third, and fourth will play fourth. There are no easy games, and there are no games that you don't need to win. Every game, every possession is critical at this point. Ontario continuing to pressure the Newfoundland and Labrador defense. And the ball rolls out of play. It'll be a goal kick for Newfoundland and Labrador. Ontario getting ready to make a substitution. Number 13 is coming in. That's Jasmine Burke, who has certainly put in yeoman service in this game. Fantastic place kicks on their corners and other set plays. She's being replaced by Christina Anderson right now. Mackenzie Hiscock chips the ball ahead, trying to get there ahead of the Ontario defenders. It's bouncing. Tough to pull down. You can hear the fans calling, "Don't give up." Jamie King now moving the ball up, trying to get it across into play and find one of her colleagues. But Ontario's number 10 is going to get there first. Number 20, that is, Chantel Parker. Fouled by a Newfoundland and Labrador player, by a Fieldians player. And Ontario with possession in the 89th minute. Like the first half, there have been very few game stoppages or delays. We're waiting to find out now how much extra time is going to be required, and the fourth official says 2 minutes. So another 2 minutes to go. We are at regulation time. The game is tied 1-1. Newfoundland and Labrador number 2 Fieldians versus Ontario Scarborough United. Ontario with a throw-in deep in Newfoundland's territory. Ball is headed away by Newfoundland and Labrador. It'll be another Ontario throw-in. Ontario once again. Fieldians defense. We've got another substitution coming in. Number 22 for Fieldians is coming out of the game, Mackenzie Hiscock. Hiscock taking her time coming off the field. And the fresh legs coming on late in this game. From number 9, Morgan Fitzgerald. Sydney Walsh with a goal kick. We are into referee's time. They added 2 minutes. This game is slowly ticking down to the end. Ontario putting the pressure on. Tied 1-1. Huge game for Fieldians. Newfoundland and Labrador number 2 against number 1 ranked Ontario Scarborough United. They will end this game 1-1. Each team will take a point away. And very exciting outcome for Fieldians, I'm sure. Both teams would certainly have wanted a clean win, but they'll each take away a point from this. This is the conclusion of Game 1 of the 2019 Toyota National Championships, the Jubilee Trophy. The next game coming up here at King George V Field will also be Jubilee Trophy. You will see Newfoundland and Labrador number 1, their provincial champs, Holy Cross Avalon Ford, playing against Alberta. I'm Colleen McConnell. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, along with Gillian Landrigan, who's been handling duties on camera. We'll be back in a little while. The next game comes up at 3:30 Newfoundland and Labrador time, and we will see you then.